Hello, Happy New Year. It's the 10th of January 2019. I just took my hairpiece off. It's been on since the 23rd of December. So what's that equal? 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st. About 19 days. So that's almost 3 weeks. And I just peeled it off my head. And that's how much my natural hair has grown since I shaved it to put it on 3 weeks ago. As you can see, if my hair was that thick and luscious all over my head, people would go, just shave it, bro. People don't say that when they see this, they only say it when they see my videos because they know. So today I'm going to just clean it and put it back on. So when I took it off today, it was sort of clinging into the hairs back here, and it was globulating with sweat and so on. And I'm feeling pretty sweaty in this room right now actually, but I think this will still be manageable to just peel off. I'm just going to get my thumb there, peel it. Can't do this with lace, by the way. Peel it off like that. Cleaning lace is a huge hassle. And how was my front hairline gone, I hear you ask, during these 3 weeks? Well, I've kind of had my hair kind of brushed forward. Lazy man's approach. If your hair's kind of hanging forward, you don't have to worry so much about anything. Especially if it's longer like this. Now I did find that there were some misalignments with the way the hair was sitting. Poly's unforgiving when it comes to the hairpiece meeting wire hair around the perimeter. So if you're off by a millimetre, that's quite a visible millimetre. Especially if your hair is short or it's straight, and then you can just see that clean gap. If your hair is all curly and stuff like mine kind of is, wavy at least, then it'll hide it better. So with longer hair, you can get away with more. Short haircuts require more precision with your hairpiece. So for years before I started doing this back in 2011, 8 years ago now. It's my 8th year. I used to wear a hat all the time. I didn't want people to see how bald I was. I was trying to do the comb over thing, or the curtains really, because I've got those recessions. But this started to fade as well in the middle. So I was growing it there and flopping it there, and I was just always paranoid about the wind and trying to use styling product to keep it down. This is 3 weeks of glue though, that's all messed up. That's why it's a bit harder to peel off than, say, glue that was not sweated on for 3 weeks. So the glue's deteriorated over that time. This is Walker Tape Ultra Hold on here. I wasn't wearing any sweat resistance stuff on my forehead because I found that to be problematic. When it lifts because of the liquid, that stuff sticks to the glue and makes it not readhesible. Is that a word yet? It is now. I now declare on this day, readhesible. Word number 5,439,683,284 of the English language. So this is not going to take all day. So far it's taken 4 minutes, longer than expected. And you can see the condition is like brand new of the poly. The hair isn't bad either. There might be a bit of glue around the perimeter edges where it might have become a bit caught up in itself as the glue sort of sipped over the edges. I don't know that it sipped over the edges. My brain's a bit foggy to think of a better word than that. Disgusting, right? Will you just shave it, bro? Because when I shave, I just wear a hat all the time. I just want a hat that sticks to my head. Maybe I'll call this episode Hat versus Hairpiece. But then again, I can't be bothered going and finding a hat. The paranoia you feel with the curtains or the comb over or whatever else you've been doing to try to cope if you haven't worn a hairpiece before, or wearing a hat. Don't tell me you don't wear a hat if you're bald. You'd be like special occasions, I just want a little bit better. The difference is, this is a hat that's just stuck on, it's not going to come off in the wind. When you go swimming. And it looks better. Well, not necessarily better than a hat. A lot of hats are pretty good, but definitely more lifestyle-y. I've been becoming increasingly paranoid about the bald patch here on the back. It feels like there's a bit of a kind of a rash in there or a pain of some sort. That's kind of the feeling, that tingling you get. And I thought maybe you should massage it, but then I don't want to wear the hairs out if they're fragile. I don't know what to do. I guess I've just got to go bald there. Because I'm not going to be fucking around with that, what's that stuff called? The stuff you sprinkle on with a bloody eyedropper. Or any of that finasteride or Hairpiece or whatever it is. Fuck doing with that. Just time wasting, and I'm not disciplined enough. Like I said, for the last 3 weeks, I forgot I was wearing hair. I just did that in the mirror just to fix my hair up or whatever. That's the same as something hair would do. Understand? If it was brushed back and the front hairline was exposed, then that day would be important to make it perfect and so on. I might even go to the lengths of using this stuff on it. So I'm going to wash this now. With shampoo and conditioner. Holding it by the edge here, and I'm just flicking it. Not the very tip, obviously. I want to get a bit of purchase in there, about there. I'll flick it. I've got the other edge and I'll flick it. Then I'll get the hairbrush. And because I'll be attaching it there first and then I need the maximum visibility there without hairs being in the way. I'm going to go and check on the back side of it, which end that will be at, and then brush away from that edge. So that will be the top where that is there. And that'll be the front hairline there. So I'll brush down towards the front hairline by placing it on my knee and neatening it up. And then I'll just rest this side here, which needs to be kind of dry. Doesn't matter that much with Hook Tape Ultra Hold, because it doesn't care about water that much. I'll just rest it over that towel there while I shave this 3-week growth off my scalp. Usually I just do it dry or whatever, but I'm just going to add a little bit of conditioner because it's quite long. How much of a relief do I feel when I finally get this thing off my head after 3 weeks? About the same amount as brushing it back out of my eyes. It's not a big deal to wear it. You can't feel that you're wearing it. The nerves of the scalp really don't seem to work that way. Now I can imagine if it wasn't glued all the way through, if it was only glued around the perimeter or the line or a dot in the middle or something, and there are air bubbles in there, then I'd feel it pushing back and forward. And just like acceleration in a car or an elevator, you can feel that, but you can't feel a constant motion. So if it's there touching, pressed up all the time against your skin, it's not something you get to feel really. And then can you feel a bandage? You can only feel it around the outer edges where it's moving against skin that it's not stuck hard against. Or just like a band-aid, a stick-on band-aid. How much can you feel that? If you've got a sore healing underneath, I'm sure it'd be itchy. And how itchy is it under a hairpiece? Well, surprisingly, amazingly, it's not itchy at all compared to any other part of your head that gets itchy. So I'm amazed about that. But it's true. And if you are itchy underneath your hairpiece, you can just scratch through it. It doesn't stop you from alleviating the itch. So for newbies, that's going to come as a surprise. You think it's going to be hot and sticky and sweaty and disgusting and unhygienic and itchy, and you'll feel it on your head. But all those things are amazingly not true. You can't feel it. I'll tell you what you do feel. The paranoia lifting of your psychosis. Now I've gone bald in public before. I've shaved my head completely. And just gone out in public like that. And the treatment I received was just as I expected. I was talked over. Yeah, but that's because of your state of mind. If you'd only just been more confident. Trust me, I'm fucking confident, right? I was confident then. I spoke as I would normally speak. Didn't make any difference. I was actually boosted with confidence with the elation that I just made the decision of finally coming out of the closet as a baldy. Didn't matter. That added confidence, and then which declined down to neutrality, which is equal to what I feel now. All of that, it didn't make shit of difference on how people treated you. And my perceptions weren't swayed by the delusion of that confidence or lack of confidence or neutrality or any other thing. My state of mind was precisely the same. Except for the fact that I was like, oh shit, what I did this for? These people aren't going to treat me with respect now that they can see their own reflection in the back of my head. And they didn't. It wasn't just a hypothesis. I'd seen other people who were bald being treated that way, and I'd seen myself as I was getting balder being treated more that way. Being fat or bald are two things that make you less attractive. Unless you've got a perfect head for it. But I mean, I bet Jason Statham and people like that would still wish they had a clean hairline instead of a balding hairline. He could do what he wanted with his hairline. He could shave it short if he wanted to, or keep it long if he wanted to. I don't remember Sean Connery, when he was bald, still playing James Bond, he must have become bald late. So what I'm doing here now, for those people who haven't seen me do this a billion freaking times, is I'm putting Walker Tape Ultra Hold adhesive glue. I said adhesive glue because, just in case you didn't understand the word adhesive in the parentheses or brackets. I think it is actually parentheses, even when people say bracket. Glue and stuff on my scalp. One layer. Not that I care. If I do another layer, it doesn't matter. And I'm not going to go all the way down to the front hairline because I will reserve that glue space, down the front section where the hairline is, for the poly, when I'll glue this onto the plastic directly. Because that means when it drops down, it will align perfectly, rather than the alternative, which is that I would guess right now where the hairline would end up by trying to paint glue on a place that I cannot exactly know. And it will vary every single time you put it on, because you won't place it precisely the same way every single time. Now during the next 15 minutes, this will dry and I will struggle to think of things to say here. But just to show you it can be done, no, I won't do it. The reason I won't do it is because I can see that I've got a few baby hairs about almost a centimetre long, all back up here that I've glued in accidentally. And the only way for me now to get them out is to wait 15 minutes for this to dry, and then using a comb them out. And then at that point, I will use alcohol spray and spray onto this glue all over, which will lubricate it for about 30 seconds, during which time I'll be able to place this down carefully and try to get that point there and that point there, which are the temples, into position like that, and try to line it up so there are no gaps and there's hardly any overhang. Overhang of the hairpiece base, which in this case is poly, 0.03 millimeter poly, which I got for about $560 in a 6-pack of full hairpieces, which I cut into 3 out of each hairpiece because I only need a leaf shape for my front partial at the front, which when divided down and subtracting away the cost of shipping equals about $25 per hairpiece for me. And as you can see, I'm about to use it for the 4th week. So if you do not fuss around with it and pull bits of hair out and make a mess of it, and you just let your hair sort of sit in a style like that, then I guess it will last a lot longer. I don't have any hair on the back or anything where my head touches the pillow. Sometimes that part of my head would obviously rub against the pillow, but it's never really affected me. Some people say they need a silk cover for their pillow. Maybe that's something to think about. I don't need it. Yeah, so it's about lordhair.com, and then I got the 6-pack of 0.03 millimeter poly in medium dark brown, color number 4 on their system. And $699, except if you use the stick on hair coupon code. That's coupon code stick on hair, one word. STICKONHAIR. Then at checkout, you need to be logged in. You can only use it once. Then they will deduct 20% of that price of what you purchase through the site during that one purchase, which equals about $560 in the case of that 6-piece 0.03 millimeter poly system. So why are there tiny little baby hairs sticking in around the edges? I'll tell you why. After 3 weeks of not shaving my head properly, I just shaved it for the first time, and I guess I didn't get right to the edges. And this razor blade has a very thick perimeter on both sides. And that's about the gap that I felt I could trust while shaving without going back further. And I'd rather this happen than going back further, and then every hairpiece I've cut out and bleached and prepared, which I've got in my cupboard ready to go, which took preparation time, maybe an hour and a half to cut them all out and cut the hairs and stuff. That would have been a waste of time, because I've now made the distance between where I need it to land, which is exactly above the top nub of my forehead, which is just there where my natural hairline should be, because that's the final nub there. You see that lump? I call it a nub. There, that's where my hairline will land. If I went over that, onto that, then it would start bending when I raise my eyebrows and stuff, right? And I'd have to start thinking about getting Botox so that my head can stay straight at all times, so that my hairpiece stays on smoothly. Of course I wouldn't do that. I might get some Juvederm under the eyeball. If you inject Juvederm into here, it's a filler, and it fills that out a bit. Also, that whole sagginess can be prevented a bit by putting Juvederm in there, because it lifts the whole thing up a bit. I've done it before. It's pretty good. I can't remember how much it is. About $600. Lasts about 6 months. And then your body just absorbs it again. I don't know what it is. Hope that didn't have to hurt any animals. Fetuses are okay. So that's where we get our stem cells. How's it going anyway, the stem cell search? That was a big deal at one point. How's Michael J. Fox's Parkinson's Institution going? That's doing well. Hope they found a new way to get stem cells without hurting animals and without hurting babies. Maybe from your own body somehow. I don't know. Maybe one day people need stem cells to fix their eyesight or spine or whatever. And they just pluck out all the follicles of their head. It's that little bit at the bottom of the follicle that has got stem cells in it, and that's what they need to inject back into the body to make them, ooh, I can walk again, I can see again, blah, blah, blah. And then they have to start sticking on hair because they've got no follicles left in the head. 15 minutes, I've got a lot of things to say right now. I'll make shit up. But welcome back to the future. In year 2019, or if you're watching this, the past. I'm weak, primitive and shit. Let's use the phrase "and shit" instead of "et cetera." I guess "et cetera" is Latin for "and shit." Look that up. I'm ready when you are, but the thing is, I don't think this is ready. So just touching it now, we'll see what it's like. I know it's still wet, it hasn't been long enough. See, that's what glue looks like when you haven't waited long enough. It shouldn't stick to your finger. It should feel tacky, but it should not come off from your finger. Baby wipes. You'll need them. I think I've run out of things to teach. This is just an ongoing process now. I'm just going to be using poly and ultra hold and alcohol spray, like comb, and a razor blade and hair and baby wipes. And this thing is hair and maybe some ultra shine killer. That's about it. If you really want to clean your head with something, you might occasionally want to use this, but I only ever use which is like C22, but this one is adhesive remover from Hair Direct, which I bought a bunch of stuff from them in the beginning, till I realized I started using clothing dye with very unbleached knots, and there was nowhere to fix them, and then they blamed me for complaining when I asked them to please re-bleach them for me, so I stopped going there. And extremely bad customer service, so Lord Hair is extremely good customer service and speedy delivery, which I love. Even if I did have a bunch of custom hair pieces, it's always good to know that lordhair.com can send you a bag of stock hair pieces within like 3-4 days. It's amazing. And the price of shipping from China is negligible. I don't know, I think the government subsidizes their shipping, which makes them hugely competitive in the whole world's markets of selling stuff online. You might want to talk to your local government about that if you want to compete with China. Having said that, I don't think the hair is from Chinese people. I think it's from Indian people. They might keep saying it's from roadkill. Because, you know, there are a lot of staff over there, so digging up graves is a fairly cheap process. Just checking for any surplus glue that might be around on the edges here. Yeah, there was a bit of glue stuck on that edge bit there. But not too bad. So because it's got some residual glue on this now, and I can feel it, and if I put a hair on there, it'll sort of want to stick to it a bit. It's going to be a little bit more sort of resistant to sliding into position. I know that from experience. So I'll just use extra alcohol. I'll put alcohol in here and alcohol in here. and it will take a little bit longer to set into position because of that extra alcohol, but at least it'll give me that slide I need to get the position correct. And without any further ado, no, well, yeah. Anyway, I think that's dry enough for me to at least take these little bits out. Can you see it? I'm just trying to make sure you can focus on that. So I'm just going to get them out like that. Now I'm not sure how much of an effect this will have on the amount of glue that's around the back perimeter. Should I re-glue it at that point now? I don't know. So there are little bits of Ultra Hold glue there, but they just come straight out. I don't even have to get them out now. They'll just come out later on, whenever I feel like it. And unlike something ridiculous like, what's that other one called? Baby Bond or whatever the fuck it is. It doesn't create little white balls of glue all over the place. How do I clean the comb? Answer, I don't. I just wipe it by squeezing some baby wipes around it and just pinch out any major chunks of glue. There are always going to be a bit of chunks of glue in there and it will be unsightly. Might even be a hair sticking out of it once in a while, and you don't want your visitors to ever see this stuff, so put it away. Okay, because it's going to look disgusting to anybody else. This is a tool. It's not really used as a comb. It's just for getting bits of hair out of glue and stuff, really. It's really good size too. I like this hand. So I got this free with my 6-pack of hair from Lord Hair. So around that perimeter, slightly worried about the tiny little bit less of amount of adhesive that might be around that perimeter, but I'm not going to do anything about it because I don't want to do this over a long period of time. I just want to go back to watching Sherlock Holmes. There's a headpiece, my head. It's all shiny and wet with alcohol, and hopefully the hairs are still wet enough for me to see through them so I can line this up fairly nicely. And yes, it does have a lot of alcohol on it to make it slippery, so that I didn't have that problem of it grabbing. And there's one good thing about putting back on an old hairpiece that you've already just taken off, and that is you don't have to cut it again. It's just going to be the right length. So brushing at this point right now, I can feel how slippery it is still. It would be a stupid idea. So I think I'll have to wait maybe 60 seconds or so for that alcohol to evaporate out enough that the glue gets a good grab. During this time I should probably double check that it really is aligned nicely. So it's the alcohol that's making it have no stick at the moment, but that's just because it's drying. The other thing you need is water. In spray form. If you don't have a bottle of spray water, then just wet your comb in the sink. It's not as good though. So I'm brushing not just to make my hair brushed. I have no intention of really styling my hair since I haven't even glued the front half of this down at all. My intention is to push it into my scalp. But nothing will make it hold if the alcohol hasn't evaporated. So I'm just going to gently check here now if there's any hold to it whatsoever. Remembering I applied no glue to the front because I'm going to apply it here directly to the base. And having one hair stuck under there for the duration of the entire time you're wearing it doesn't do anything, no problem. But I didn't like seeing it there. Also, it could have got caught on the glue brush, I guess. Okay, so once you've done that, take a hairband, put it back on. Walker Tape Ultra Hold. The problem with this bottle is that it is too long for the brush, or the brush is too short for the bottle, and so after it gets down to that point there, the brush will no longer reach any of the glue, even though it's still got a quarter of glue in it. So you've got to tilt it on its side and basically get the glue all up the side of the stem of the brush. Which you'd think they would have corrected on the first day they decided what the packaging would fucking be. But this company has a few shortcomings when it comes to packaging and shininess. This glue is extremely shiny. It is probably the shiniest glue in the world, actually. So probably don't even use it at all if you're going to use lace. I don't know which glue to use though when using lace, because this is the only glue that does hold hair pieces to heads. So everything else just seems to make the hairpiece slide off as soon as you get wet or sweaty or anything. So I searched high and low for a new adhesive type that would replace this, because it's shit, even though it's the only thing that works. And I couldn't find one, and so instead I went from lace to poly, which means that the shine of this product doesn't shine out into people's eyes and blind them. Because with lace, as you can imagine, there's nothing stopping the sun shining directly off the glue through the hairs on your scalp. And the Ultra Hold will be extremely shiny. If it's winter, you can probably get away with it with a medium density. I think they've said on the website of Lord Hair that this piece I've got on here is medium light density, but it's hard to gauge what that means with poly because it uses V-loops instead of knots. it seems to be equivalent in my mind to a medium density in lace, which is my favorite density. Yes, it can create a wall of hair, but now that I've bleached the front along there on every hairpiece, the V-lips are less woolly. And I did this because my skin's so pale. I think all white people need to do it basically. If you've got dark hair and light skin, you really kind of need to bleach those knots so it looks like it's emerging out of it. Or either that or do a realistic graduation. But if the graduation is revealing the base, then you've failed. And if it's graduated, that means it's sparse. People will see the lace or the shiny plastic of the poly. So graduation, while good in theory, blah blah blah. So I've settled for now on the V-looped poly with all the hairs facing this direction and the bleaching going across like that. Now I can't, when I'm cutting out hair pieces from a wig, full-size hairpiece, I get 3, so each of my hair pieces equals probably 1 of your hair pieces. When I'm cutting them out, I never know which direction the little old lady with a cigarette in her mouth at the factory has decided to sew it in. If all the V-lips are going in one direction like they are on this particular piece, which is why I'm going to rewear it because I have no problems with it, the hairs look quite realistic. But sometimes they'll go there, and then all of a sudden go that way. So it'll be like that, right? And so then the hairs will flick out like that all over the place and look stupid. If you have the resources to create a factory that makes hair pieces with a machine, you'll win. We don't want to be tormenting people who are working their asses off with that kind of sewing job. It seems like a lot of hard work, but I don't feel sorry for a machine that doesn't have a mind. Okay, so with poly, you don't have to technically wait for the glue to dry before you just put it down, do your hair, and just be gentle with it for the next, I don't know, hour or so, while it gradually dries underneath. I could do that, because I kind of feel like going out a cigarette right now. I watched the end of Sherlock Holmes. But it's just not set. It's not ready to go. You can't brush it back at all during that time. And there is the potential that it will squish forward and the front few hairs on the front hairline will get a bit of glue in them, which is fucked. Which is why I'm going to wait and press it down. And just because I don't want you to have a video, just in case it's your first time, in which you are looking at some dude with his hair stuck halfway on his head and he didn't finish the job, I'm going to have to wait with you and do it properly. I'm going to keep you fucking entertained for 15 minutes. I don't know if I can. What am I going to say? Ask me a question. Dear stick-on hair, why are you such a nut? I can't think of stuff to say right now. Alright, I'll tell you a story. The other day I was screaming at my mum in the car after we had a pleasant day with the ducks and the little kids and stuff, my nieces. And I was screaming at her. Like she hadn't done anything to help me with my misassociations and estrangements from my father and my sister and all sorts of stuff, when she was really the only spokesperson that could have done the job for me. And I've just been waiting decades, like seriously decades of counseling and medication and fucking losing friends and nightmare life, homelessness. And so I was driving her in my car, screaming at her, banging on the steering wheel and shit, and holding the horn down while we drove through heavy traffic, while screaming in through the window there. Like with like domestic violence, surely. And then at the traffic lights, I said, so what are you telling me, you're going to do nothing? And she said, what can I do, darling? Right? I've heard those tears before. Meaningless to somebody who's been living in the street and lost their friends and their job and every other fucking thing because nobody ever took any action or gave a shit, and now he's been replaced by other things that they're thinking about in life, and it's gone away. So I just got out of the car, even though I was the driver, right, and just walked off into the distance. I took my phone with me though, that was good. So I did see some text message, first couple of lines on the screen. I didn't answer them or anything. As I was under bridges and first thing I did was go to buy a packet of cigarettes. I had my card in my pocket, thankfully. Bought a bottle and just went around drinking. Came across this black dude. You don't see black guys very often. I mean, you see Indians. They're not really that black. You might see occasional islander. This guy was from Africa, Kenya, originally. Been in Australia for a while, I guess, but spoke perfect English. And anyway, he was sitting there with the people I was sitting there laughing with. Laughing a little bit, not on the inside, of course. Fucking despair. And I said, fuck off, dude. Full of shit, man. He's passing around a cigarette and saying it was a joint. I'm like, bullshit. And he was like wide-eyed and fucking crazy shit. He was on ice. I didn't really know. I don't understand all that shit, but you seen Breaking Bad? That stuff. Less blue though. Anyway, I ended up saying goodbye to other people because this guy actually seemed a bit crazy in the sort of mindset that I want to be in. He might kill me sort of thing. I thought this is actually going to be to my advantage. So I followed him around. He jumped a fence. I heard a window break. I waited by the door and he said, press number 9 or something, yelled over something. I pressed it and we went in and he just, I don't know, might have been a crowbar or something, I can't remember properly. I was getting a bit smashed at this point. Went into this abandoned apartment, pretty good view. And he shut the door and opened his bag up and it was just full of drugs and shit. And then we started smoking weed and ice and all sort of shit. As he was getting more and more maniacal, I was feeling stoned and shit and drunk. I didn't feel anything from the ice. It's this little glass container thing, and then he lit it. I burned my little blister there. He had a bunch of lighters. Lit the wrong end, backwards and shit. And then, there were scissors next to me, very sharp pointing ones. I said, "Suck, fuck," because he kept on threatening me. He's gonna fucking kill me. Oh yeah, I'm here to fucking save you. I'm the savior of the universe, motherfucker. Like, he's all this sort of shit. Saying he was all, he didn't say it was Jesus Christ, but he had new religious ideas he'd invented and things. And I wasn't his follower or disciple, and that was evil of me apparently. And I said, shut the fuck up, dude. Why can't you sit down as a fucking equal and just chill, man? What the fuck? Shit down. Thank you so much for all the shit, but don't fucking give me this bullshit. Which made it more aggressive, of course. And sometimes we'd go, bro, and then we'd have to do the punch. And then we'd be friends for a second, so you go, dumma, 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 right? And so I was like, no, I'm not gonna fucking punch to that. If you wanna fucking kill me, There are scissors right there. Do it. Here, look how shiny my neck is, bitch. And he told me how to fucking escape from prison or some shit. He was wanted in other states and things for fucking violent shit. So good, you're just the man for the job. That is a lot of glue I pasted onto that, but you don't have that much control when you're pasting onto the poly in terms of the thickness of the glue. And any lumps that might occur underneath from the glue and stuff, I've never noticed it. It's been a major problem. Anyway, we were brothers by the end of the night apparently, and we just went our separate ways. Lucky he had an appointment to go to, and I did the right thing and went back home and snuggled up and beside my mum and said I'm sorry and cried and shit. Don't you love it when a story is told with the wrong emotional state from the narrator? And they all lived happily ever after, the end. Like the narrator doesn't give a fuck. Once upon a time, there was a little girl called Dorothy. She was in a little house in Kansas City, an outback farm in Kansas. And all of a sudden, the big gale, fucking storm started, blowing wind everywhere and shit. And Dorothy and her little fucking dog, Toto, what? They was panicking. Hello, Toto. No, that's Mickey Mouse. Dorothy would be mine.
Oh, Toto, what'll we do? It's so windy out there. Let's go down to the shelter and make ourselves comfortable in the barn.
I don't know what happened to Arnhem in the story. I'm sure Arnhem was looking for her or something. Didn't she just fall asleep on her bed and it was a dream? What about the old lady with the bicycle? Yeah, your little dog too. Anyway, this narrator wouldn't give a fuck about that shit. And there was a fucking guy made out of hay, with straw or some shit. And his name was the Scarecrow, because he scared crows. Well, hello, Dorothy.
Hello, Tin Man.
Are you dry yet, you motherfucker, you? I don't think it is, but I don't think it's so wet that it'll completely squish out all over the place. Okay, this is just to show you the leniency of poly. Leniency of poly. I'm just going to close it down right now. So basically I'm still scattered from all of that shit. How does ice feel? I didn't feel anything. Didn't feel like shit. And he told me I was wasting his drugs because I wasn't smoking it properly. Because I'd just take a bit of a puff while he was lighting it. And he'd hold the lighter over it and it would be burning and stuff. And it was kind of just, I guess I wasn't inhaling enough. I didn't know how hard to inhale. It's hard to see any smoke until I exhaled coming out of it. So it's not a very good drug. It doesn't make you feel anything. It's like cocaine. You don't, I mean, maybe I've just got a disposition genetically that disallows me from feeling any sensation from such weak, shitty drugs. I've never felt, or maybe just that type of drug, I can't feel it. I just can't feel I don't feel that kind of energy surge that other people seem to have. Like, what is cocaine anyway? It's like strong coffee. It's not a very good drug. $300 a fucking gram here. Crazy. I've never put in for it. I never really take much of it though. Hardly. I mean, these are such rare occasions, especially now that I'm on my own so often. So, I don't know how well aligned this is all is back here and stuff. It could be that there's some misalignments along the way. Feels mostly right. This front bit at the front is all white still. It's probably still the effect of not being dry. But there is a dark line all the way along the front here, which I will investigate afterwards. Make sure that's not there. But as far as any sort of brush forward look is concerned, I've got a full head of hair now, right? I could have done it a bit quicker if I didn't want to wait for the glue to dry at all. But I found in the past, if you just pre-glue the entire hairpiece and try to stick it on your head and slide in position, it's all squishy, and it does actually touch the edges of hairs and things because of the squishing around movement to get it into position. And it's not like you just like do in that Darth Vader chair when his helmet is perfectly aligned on his head. You've really got to do it in two parts. First glue the back part of your hair, and then just glue that front section so it just lands exactly at the front. So I might have to clean this up tomorrow, but right at this second I'd be pretty confident I can go skydiving with the hair like this, with the glue like this at the moment. Definitely get in the shower with this. See if it lasts another 3 weeks. And normally I'd put this muck stuff in, but I just want to feel what it's like to just get some natural kind of grease going in the hair or something like that. Maybe try to find a new softer kind of hair product. I've used conditioner, I mean just normal conditioner in the past, but it makes my scalp flake. It seems to give me dandruff if I do that for some reason. There must be some burning chemicals in there somehow. But you definitely kind of need something in there, because if you don't do anything at all, then it'll just become quite fluffy and unmanageable. You'll probably even have a different texture from your natural hair. So find some sort of hair product. Fahrenheit. Like your. I'll make it to an hour. Good. Now I can go smoke.